to kind of show you how and where I work. Up until a year ago, I lived in a very countryside-y place in Scotland, and it ought to have been perfect and peaceful and quiet for working, except that I had 2 teenage children who were musical. Let's say musical, otherwise known as very noisy. So constantly there would be hordes of teenagers dragging drum kits and guitars all the way through the house, and most of my books have been written in the little blue shed that you can see in that slide. And a teepee also in that slide. That was something that was in the first published book that I ever wrote, Dizzy, and it's something that we spent the money from the story on. So that was the reason for that. Good daydreaming space as well. And you can have that kind of thing when you live in the countryside, I guess. Well, in the slide you can see kids from one of the local schools who've come to visit and ask me and interview me about being an author. But all of that changed kind of last year, because we've upped sticks and moved away from Scotland down to Merseyside, and finally we have a house big enough to have a room that I can use for an office, for a workshop, for a writer's room. So all of my favourite stuff from the writing shed is now in my special writing room, but we're still very much at the unpacking boxes stage. Hey, at least I don't have to work and write my books in a shed in the garden, but I do kind of miss it sometimes. That's kind of one of life's ironies, I suppose. And because clearly not everybody can come and visit the place where I live and the place where I work, it's kind of the reason that I like to come out and meet my readers around the country. So you can see a visit to a primary school, visit to a secondary school. The black and white photograph there, that's taken at an international book festival at Beijing in China 2 years ago. And I've been really, really lucky because I've been able to visit my readers in places as far afield as Australia, Singapore, New Zealand. There was Poland in May last year. I was at a place called Sharjah in United Arab Emirates, and in November I was able to visit Paris and meet my French readers who really, really love the Chocolate Box Girls series. So if your teachers ever try to say to you, as they often did to me at school, that daydreaming will never get you anywhere in life, you actually know that's not true. Daydreaming can get you all kinds of places if you know how to use those skills wisely. It's your creative thinking and your imagination. So, kind of skipping back again to what I was like at school, and specifically to what I was like at the age group of some of the secondary girls here, because I'm thinking a lot of 12, 13-year-olds are here this morning. You already know I was addicted to daydreaming. You know that the daydreaming was about inventing characters and stories, and like a lot of you, I like to write those stories down and share them with my teachers at school. But by the time I was 12 or 13, I wanted to share them a bit further afield as well. So back then I had a favourite magazine. It was called Jackie. I think most of the young people won't know much about it, but some of the teachers might just remember Jackie magazine. It always had loads of stories, and I thought it would be the best thing ever if I could get one of my stories printed in Jackie. So over those next few years, I sent lots of stories away, not just 5 or 6, not 10 or 20. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of short stories through the post to the fiction editor of Jackie Mag, and every single one came back with a polite letter saying, "Dear Cathy, very sorry, your stories are not suitable, but if you have any other stories, we would love to see them." And it was always that last sentence that got me, the little nugget of hope in there, and I'd kind of race off and start on another story. Off it would go through the post, and back it would come. The whole thing just kept happening. So, but you know what? It taught me an awful lot about perseverance. And all of the time I was learning, those stories were getting a little bit better all the time, a little bit closer to being the kind of thing that a magazine might actually want. And if any of you have a particular interest or passion or skill, you will know that you need to work and practice to get to be good at anything. Whatever it is that you care about in life doesn't just happen by magic, it happens by hard work. So in a way, that's what I was doing. I was training myself to get a little bit better all the time. And eventually, when I was 16, a different magazine bought and published and paid for a story I'd written, which felt amazing, kind of step one on the way to becoming a published author. I have, though, admitted that I ended up going off to art college, and that might seem a little bit confusing when you know that I became an author, but to me, art and writing are totally linked, kind of flip sides of the same coin, if you like. So I guess you can paint a story with pictures, you can tell a story with words. All of those things, the two things fit together. So I was training to be an illustrator who creates images based on other people's words, and I was writing at the same time. I loved art college, came out of art college with a degree but no job, and I was looking around to see what kind of things are available, wrote lots of letters away, and one of the letters went to Jackie Mag, and this time a different reply appeared, and I ended up being given a job as office junior on the magazine I'd plagued and pestered with stories all the way through my teens, so a bit of an irony going on there. And clearly, as office junior, you start at the bottom. I had to fetch the coffee and chocolate from the canteen, answer the phone, etc. But quickly I was given the job of fiction editor. And that's the person who buys and edits the stories, who commissions the artwork. So very ironic. And it also taught me huge amounts about the job that I do these days, how to structure a story, beginning, middle and end, how to make sure the character was somebody that teenagers and young people would like to read about, how to keep the reader's attention. All of those things were amazing. But loads and loads of fun as well to work on a magazine called Jackie. And I think if you have a look at some of those are some of the copies that I worked on. I was there for about 3 years in the mid-80s. And you can see my drawings on the horoscope page. You can see my first few published stories. Even, I think you can't see it very well, which is a very good thing, but even me appearing in a photo story at the time. Loads of fun, and if you had a good creative idea, you could go and do it. If anybody here is interested in the world of journalism, whether it's magazine or newspaper or website, radio, TV, the whole lot, it's very challenging but exciting and rewarding career. And if anybody fancied launching a magazine in their own school, I think we maybe do have a magazine in some of the schools here. But if it's something your school doesn't have, maybe you could actually be the people to launch a magazine there. And there is a little freebie download on my website called Make a Mag, which you can actually take, which will help you work out all the practical bits of putting a magazine together. But also my readers had kind of been nagging me over the last couple of years to maybe make a Cathy Cassidy magazine. And of course I don't really have time to run a magazine as well as writing lots of books, but I thought it would be quite a nice thing to do. And these days kind of online magazines are very popular, and I thought it was something we could do as a pop-up almost, something that was accessible from the website. So just a couple of weeks ago we've begun a blog zine. It's half blog, half magazine really, and it's called DreamCatcher. My older readers on my Facebook fan page had decided they would call it DreamCatcher. We had lots of discussions and that was what they decided. And it's really a magazine all about my readers. So if anybody here wants to have a look at it, just go to the website cathycassidy.com, click on the DreamCatcher link and have a look at the last few posts, and you'll see the kind of things I mean. If you have any brilliant ideas for what could be on there, or if you want to be interviewed, or you've got an idea for something you'd like to do for DreamCatcher, there's another journalistic opportunity for you, because we'd love to hear from you. So definitely check it out.